I stand in the presence. All right, for our announcements today, we have many. There's a lot going on here at Unity on the River. First of all, it's so nice to have you here, Jackie.
Thank you. Appreciate
Jackie
that.
will be our speaker today. And right after the service, Jackie is doing a workshop. It's called the Miracle Formula. And if you just want to learn a step-by-step process in creating magic and miracles in your life, then you need to come to that. Also, we have a new artist. I don't know if you've noticed, in hospitality in the gallery. Her name is Kay Campbell, and she's been an artist for 20 years. Beautiful, vivid displays of art. Important day. Today is one of the days that you can give Thanksgiving food. There is a table set up in the bookstore, and food is picked up from here every Monday, and it's for the benefit of the Pettingill House. It actually feeds the homeless and the hungry in this area. And next Sunday is the last Sunday to donate food. We're also starting our collection of teddy bears, cuddly, new or gently used teddy bears, if you'd like to start bringing them in. And they'll be delivered by youth to the Amesbury Nursing Home. Okay, today, important date. It's the last day to actually fill out an application so that Unity can choose 2 partners. Those would be just organizations in our community that we would want to work with for a year. And I'll have the applications in my office, and you can stop by after service if you want one. Community meeting coming up next Sunday, immediately after service. And presenters will be talking about their applications for outreach partners, and we'll actually be voting on them. And we'll present the River Foundation application process at that time. Unity Basics class. Is Martha Jean here? Okay, we'll see if she comes in, because she was going to talk about this class that she teaches, but if not, I'll go over it a little bit with you. Portsmouth Eats Tour. Is Colleen Westcott here? Colleen, come on down.
Good morning and namaste.
Namaste.
So I hope you'll be part of the group next Saturday that is meeting in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So anybody eating downtown Portsmouth? Yeah. Did you know Portsmouth is one of the contenders for the highest number of restaurants per capita? We have a huge amount of restaurants. Some of them are award-winning. It brings Man vs. Food. Rachel Ray eats downtown Portsmouth. So what we're going to do is we're going to visit the restaurants in downtown Portsmouth that have been noted by Rachel Ray, Man vs. Food, Phantom Gourmet, the best of the best. At each one, we're going to taste at that restaurant. So by the end of the tour, you will have eaten at 5 restaurants. You'll be very full, very content. And then from our fullness, we're going to give back to Unity. So half of your ticket for the tour is going to go back to the church. So I hope you'll join me. There'll be a sign-up out in the fellowship after, and I'll be answering any questions that you have. And I hope to see you. Thank you.
And Thanksgiving is right around the corner, as you know, and at our Wednesday service on the 21st, there's actually a potluck where we serve a turkey and people bring food. So I just wanted to let you know that it would be great if you could be here by 5. Dinner's at 5:30, and Shipley service will be at 7 as usual. All right, the next one I'm going to call on Maura. Is that okay? Cover what you can, and I'll catch up.
I stand in the presence. On December 16th, there's going to be a pageant here with the children that are going to be included, and I'm really looking for Christmas. I would like a kids choir. And I also want a teen harmony team to help out on that pageant. So on December 16th, that will be the very first time that we are going to be appearing with a kids choir. So what Team Harmony team would do, you'll be singing 2 songs. Teen Harmony team will help out and lead, and I would like to carry on with the teens after that pageant is over for the beginning of the year as well. So there'll be additional practices right after service when your parents are in fellowship. I'll be practicing on November 25th and December 9th, and that practice is actually going to end at 12:30. We will start right after service and complete at 12:30 when folks are done with fellowship. So see me or Christina Mariah for the beginning of our kids choir. Here it comes. Bring it.
Also, youth education is really in need of volunteers. So if you haven't thought of the type of sacred service that you would like to donate here to Unity on the River, you could see Christina after service today, even to volunteer once a month. And there is a meeting coming up November 25th. Another short announcement, the Green Team is meeting today in the wing room at 11:45. And Unity Basics, did Martha ever come in? Okay, so Unity Basics. It is the course that one needs to become a member at Unity on the River. It explains the foundation of Unity and the Fillmores, and is just a wonderful course that gives you practical tools to apply Unity principles in your life. And that starts this Tuesday. There's a sign-up. There's a lot of sign-ups on the bulletin board, so take your pick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patty Barkas being accompanied with Trish Ives in the choir. This is the best of life.
There's a new territory that I never saw before, like a fire-off transformation breaking through my core. Shining in the darkness, I can see the light of day in this new territory, this new territory. It's my strength, it is my way. Well, I pray that you see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Well, wake up and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Well, let go and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Well, I say yes, and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Well, I forgive, and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. There's a new territory that I never saw before, like a fire-off transformation breaking through my core. Shining territory. New territory. If you want want to receive.
Love, you've got to be the love. If you want to see the love, you've got to be the love. If you want to see the love, you've got to be the love. If you want to see the love, because you reap what you sow, you meet what you know, and you see what you believe. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Don't tell me that your life is a desert. Somebody gotta quench your thirst. You can dance, you can pray for the water, but you gotta give your love to it first. You've got to be the light if you want to see the light. You've got to be the light if you want to see the light. Come on, give it up. Be the light. Here we go. Want to see the light. You've got to be the light. Want to see the light. Because you reap what you sow, you meet what you know, and you see what you believe. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive. Give a little bit of that good thing if you want to receive.
Wow. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity on the River. We are a church of celebration, and I welcome you to this celebration service this morning. My name is Jackie Woodside, and I'll be facilitating services for you this morning. Our minister, the Reverend Shipley Allenson, is off today, and a much-deserved day off after she moved this weekend to her new home. And Shipley texted me early this morning and told me to have a great time with you all today. And she also said thank you to all of those who showed up at her house this weekend to help her move. So who was that showed up at Shipley's house this weekend? Any of you willing to say that you were there? Eric? Yeah, all the guys. I see a bunch of guys' hands in the hand. Anne, great, thanks. So Shipley sent a big thank you to all of those that helped her move. So we're going to be looking at services this morning. We've just completed our Adventures in Faith series, right, where we were studying Eric Butterworth's book, The Spiritual Economics, and we're going to be moving into the holiday season, Thanksgiving and then Advent and the holidays. So today is a day that we're going to just take a little breather and go within and look at this topic of conscious communities. Who are we being in community with one another? So that's what we'll be doing in our services today. So as we begin all of our services, let's begin by saying our mission statement together. Oh, the vision statement together, sorry. Centered in love, we joyously co-create a world of oneness, peace, and harmony. And our mission statement? We are a vibrant spiritual community that celebrates the presence in all and awakens humanity to its divinity. Yes, that is who we are. Special shout out to the people who are watching us live stream today. Thank you always for joining us. And we also want to take this time to welcome anyone that's celebrating with us for the first time, anyone that perhaps has not visited us at Unity on the River. We'd just like to welcome you. Lauren, welcome from Worcester. Thank you for coming to see me, and your husband Ted and your son Brian. Welcome. Anyone else, some friends of mine up here in the front. Anyone else celebrating with us for the first time today? We just have a flower. Great, welcome. There's a few people here. We have a flower for you, and just to say hello and welcome. And someone from our welcome team will say hello to you after services and answer any questions that you might have about Unity or about Unity on the River. So we do welcome you to our church today, and please know that we celebrate all paths to God and that your presence today really enriches us. So thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here. Great. Thank you, Steve, ushers, and the welcome team. So this is the time in our congregation when we greet one another in love. In our congregation, we say namaste, which means the divinity in me greets and beholds the divinity in you. And this morning, I greet each and every one of you. Namaste. Please feel free to greet one another with a handshake or a hug.
check, check. Check, check. Check, check.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patty Barkus again in the heart opener, and this is People Get Ready. Being assisted by Trish Ives and the lovely band.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels a-humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. People get ready, thank the Lord. People get ready, there's a train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is a key, open the doors and join in. There's room for us all among the loved and lost to you. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Now there's even room for the hopeless and bitter, whose heart on mankind just to set his own. Have a mercy on those whose chances are bitter, 'cause there's no hiding place in the kingdom store. Don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord. Strength to diesels a-humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Thank you very much.
Wow. Holy cow. I mean, the music team here is so amazing. Patty, that was fabulous. Wow. And this choir, look at these guys. Amazing. You know, I was at a fundraiser gala last night, and I was telling my friends, like, I can't stay very late. I got to go home. I'm doing, like, a whole church service tomorrow. And they're like, really? Wow. I was like, yeah, the music is awesome.
And the speaker.
Oh, right. And the speaker, too. Yes, thank you, Michelle. So, and actually, a few of my friends from the gala last night have logged on this morning, so a shout out to my friends out there in streaming land. Thank you for getting up and watching me via live stream this morning. So here we are. So today's 11/11/12. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Today's Veterans Day. Are there any veterans here at Unity on the River? Please stand for our veterans today. We honor you. We thank you for your service. And we appreciate all that we have in this country. It's extraordinary, isn't it? I'm just so moved by it. And I'm so moved by being here, awake and alive at this time in humanity. Isn't it rich? It's just an amazing time. You know what I next want to do? I want to be like, okay, and so who's here's teachers? And so who here is a teacher? Woo! And who here is a nurse and a social worker in the healthcare profession? Woo! And who here is in the service industry in some way, giving service to other people? I mean, it's extraordinary, the number of ways inside of which we get to express ourselves in the world. It is extraordinary being in this country. So what was it like for you guys this past week? Wasn't it a roller coaster? So I'm talking about so we had an election this week, just in, because I know it's Sunday now and that was Tuesday. And we live in kind of a sped up culture, you know what I'm saying? So everybody be like, what happened this week? So so we had an election this week. And, it was really fascinating to be a part of that, wasn't it? On the one hand, so you know how you get desensitized when you watch a lot of violence or media? So I watch none. I really watch none. So for me to log on to CNN or listen to NPR or check out what was happening on the news, it was really an assault to my poor senses. I couldn't believe the level of the discourse. I know that we are capable of so much more, and that's why what we're going to talk about today, this whole concept of intentionally creating conscious communities. Because it applies at so many levels. It applies to what we're doing at the dinner table. Your family is a conscious community. It applies to what you're doing in your workplace, what you're doing here in your place of worship, and what we're doing as a country. And I just think it's such an incredible time. Well, I think, all right, so lots and loads of spiritual luminaries are teaching that this is such an important time in our history, the birthing of the new reality, the birthing of the new humanity. And I believe that this election showed something of that. Now, I'm not talking about politics here. It doesn't matter to me if you're red or blue or green or purple. What I'm talking about is a shift in consciousness that we are bearing witness to across this nation and around the globe. And that's really what I want us to think deeply about today. I'm not going to give you just sound bites, little spits of opinion here and there that's backed up by some loose facts. We've had enough of that for this last year, this last few weeks in particular. Let's take ourselves and go deeply today into this, our thinking. I want you to think about your life and your communities. So right now, call to mind, where are you located in community? Where are you located? Certainly we're located together here in this community. I want you to think of your families and your workplaces, your health club, my racquetball community, my racquetball buddies. It's a place that I express myself and I'm known. So let's begin by talking about, what do I mean by conscious community? What do I mean by that? So let's start with this word consciousness. It's a word we use a lot in Unity and New Thought, isn't it? But what does it really mean? To be conscious, to engage in your consciousness. What I'm talking about when I use that word is really the sum total of your attitudes, thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and perceptions. It's kind of the water you're swimming in when you don't know you're in the water. It gives rise to how you see life, but you don't know that you're seeing life any particular way. Right? So your consciousness gives you your experience of life because it's how you see life. And the more you raise in consciousness, you see life differently, don't you? You all know what I'm talking about. Two people can have the exact same experience of something and walk away with completely different interpretations of what just occurred, right? How many of you have had an experience like that? Yeah, totally, right? So what is that? That is consciousness. But you know, guys, what happens? For the most part, we walk around just unconscious of our consciousness. We're just in it, rather than really experiencing it, or better yet, intentionally creating it. You with me? So then let's go to this word community. We throw the word around all the time, but what does it really mean? Community comes from the Latin root word communitatis. Com meaning with, muni meaning that which binds or links one together. That which binds or links together. And then tatus, meaning intimate. So our conscious communities are those intimate groups that are bound together by our shared beliefs, values, perceptions, and ways of seeing the world. Isn't that great? Look around. Like, look around at the people here. This is who you're in conscious community with. Right? This is what we're doing together. And what I'm saying is, let's get conscious about our communities. Let's bring the wholeness and the fullness of who we are to each relational exchange. I am blessed to be a member of a mastermind group. A mastermind group, for those of you who haven't heard that phrase before, is a spiritually oriented goals group, really, for just a simple explanation of it. It's a group of people who believe that whenever two or more are gathered in the name of God, that the blessings abound. So it's cool that I'm a part of this particular group, but even more cool beyond that is that we are 12 women from 4 different countries, 7 who are black, 5 who are white, a handful who are gay, the rest who are straight. 2 are married, 2 are moms, 1 is a single mother. We come from wildly diverse socioeconomic backgrounds in every field of industry. Music, the arts, corporate America, business owners, teachers, educators. So basically what I'm saying, we have nothing in common. Right? Really, we really have very little in common, except for our shared belief of the importance of creating a conscious community, coming together around that shared belief. That's who we are here in this community. We come together around our shared beliefs of the unity and the New Thought movement, awakening humanity, celebrating the presence, right? You know, this week in particular, I think this topic is so incredibly important because I think a lot of what got highlighted this week and in this past year in this whole political dialogue is the degree to which, in many ways, our communities are failing us. In many ways, our communities are failing us, aren't they? Let's look at that a little bit. Just some numbers that kind of, I believe, highlight this. Do you know that the second and third leading causes of death for people between 15 and 24 is homicide and suicide? That the number 1 cause of disability in that same age group are mental illnesses, primarily mood disorders such as depression and substance abuse. Those statistics are from the World Health Organization. And then lastly, Dr. Brené Brown from the University of Texas in Houston, in her wonderful TED Talk on vulnerability, said, we are, it's one of my favorites, we are the most overweight, over-medicated, addicted generation in history. Thank you, Brené. I probably could have lived the rest of my life without knowing that. But I believe that these numbers point to a failure of our communities to really see and hold and give rise to that which is sacred in each and every one of us. Where there's that loss of connection and community, See, because I believe that conscious communities are those inside of which your vulnerabilities are held sacred and protected, and your strengths are celebrated. That you can be deeply known and seen for who you really are, and appreciated in your growth and development. I always say people are doing the best that they can given their circumstances to their current and evolving capacities. We are always growing higher. Can we relate to one another that way? The French sociologist Emile Durkheim gave rise to a phrase called anomie. And that phrase means the kind of alienated discontent felt by individuals when they're in communities that they don't feel a sense of belonging or connection, a sense of meaning or purpose, anomie. He began writing about that at the rise of the Industrial Revolution, where there was a tremendous shift from the focus on the communal, the greater good, the needs of the many, and a shift to the needs of the one. Where there was a focus, the shift in focus from what was happening in the community that I belong in to my own egoic individualistic needs in the rise of the Industrial Revolution. Can you imagine? That was back in the 19th century in the Industrial Revolution. What if Durkheim were alive today in the digital age? The digital era, the information age, when we are forever plugged in, but so rarely genuinely connected. See, I believe those numbers and those statistics and what we see around us in the political divide and the political discourse really goes to the very fabric of our culture, where so much of the focus and emphasis of our lives is on circumstance rather than consciousness, on what's happening out there, what's happening around us, what's happening to us, rather than our own conscious invention and creation of what is happening within us. And from that clearly defined, well-grounded place of what is happening within me, from that place, I can reach out and connect authentically and be in relationship with you and be in relationship in my community. I've been coming to this church for 10 years now. It's really become a very central part of my life. In fact, I live over an hour away from here, and have been coming here for 10 years, driving an hour each way to everything that I do. I'm on the board of trustees here, served at a previous rendition of my relationship here for 7 years on the board of trustees, came off for a year and a half, and now I'm back on the board. Because I am so passionate about this belief in conscious community, and this is a place for all of us that we know that we can be seen and known. And we can share with one another authentically in our belief and from our values. In fact, I've been so impacted by this that really I shifted my whole career. 10 years ago, I was a full-time clinician, a full-time therapist, and now I'm a full-time speaker and teacher of these consciousness truths and principles. And it is out of my relationship here with this organization and this church that that shift occurred. There's an American philosopher, Jacob Needleman. I love the guy. He wrote a book called Time and the Soul, and another consciousness book about money. Jacob Needleman. He says that we are a culture awash in material goods and yet impoverished with time, meaningful time. And what he's talking about is time that feeds the soul, that stimulates your mind, that opens up your heart. How many of us feel that sense of frantic busyness and there's so much to do and I can't keep up with everything? It's a big world out there. There's lots of really good choices. But when our life becomes too caught up in the dizzying frenzy that we're living in, we're not able to be engaged with our own inner consciousness. Therefore, how can we engage deeply in community? You know, I'm not even just talking to you about concepts and intellectual knowing. I'm talking to you about my own life. God, back in my late 20s into my 30s, I just was like that, one of those frantically busy people. I had a full-time job, I had a part-time private practice, I was teaching courses, I was taking courses at Landmark Education, I had a busy, really active social life. If you opened up my calendar, there would not be an empty spot anywhere in there. every night of the week, out doing something different with friends. I'm an avid racquetball player. I ski. My landlord, in fact, looked at me one time and said, as we passed in the driveway, and he said, "I think you pay rent so that your cat has somewhere to live." Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, it's like I was never home. I was just out and engaged in life, and I was doing all kinds of things. I really could have been the first card-carrying member of Overachievers Anonymous. Yeah, who wants to join that club? Yeah. You know what I'm saying, right? Just so much to do and so much stimulation and just going and going and going and going. But I didn't have any grounding. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know really who I was being. So what do you think happened? Well, my body started to respond, right? Because when you're living just in your head and you're just engaged, I mean, I was like an addict, right? I mean, I wasn't snorting anything up my nose or anything weird like that, but, I was like an addict, just going all the time and really living on adrenaline. So my body started to break down. I had all kinds of these odd illnesses and injuries that were happening. So I went to my traditional medicine practitioners, and they, in fact, said my adrenal system was starting to burn out, and that if I didn't slow down, I was going to have continued difficulty. Well, then I also went to complementary medicine, and my acupuncturist was a little more direct than that. He said, "Jackie, if you don't change the way you're living, you're going to die young. Your chi, your life force energy, is incredibly low for someone your age. You have the chi of an 80-year-old woman. And the problem isn't what you're doing in life, the problem is how you're doing it. I think you really should get in touch with what's really important to you." The man saved my life. The man saved my life. Because that began a process of me asking that question. I mean, I had a huge crisis of identity, because all I knew was out being in the world, being active, being an athlete, being a professional, building my career. That's all I knew. But I, like many people, didn't ask the question, what's it all for? And at some point, right, we all have that awakening. We all have that moment where we have to ask ourselves, what is this all for? What am I doing this for? And it was at that point that I had a tremendous opening and awakening, and in fact, it's when I began developing all of the curriculums that I now teach, the courses that I teach in energy management, life design, life mastery, and my life was changed. So if you were to look at my calendar today, it doesn't look a whole lot different. I'm still out there playing racquetball, skiing, we're running my business, doing lots of things, but what shifted was the context. Not what I was doing, but who I was being. That gave rise to, I have more energy, like really, I have more energy than I can manage sometimes. I have energy to spare. I have to make myself go to sleep. You know what that's like, right? When you are aligned and living on purpose, consciously awake and aware, knowing that you're doing what you were born to do, it's a tremendous, tremendous way to live. But listen, this isn't even a personal story, is it? It's not personal. How many of you, at some point, were like, oh my God, I got to get off this rat race. I got to get off this hamster wheel, because it's killing me. I'm running and there's so much to do. It's not personal, is it? It's the way our culture is operating. Which leads us to really a very fundamental question. And I believe this, as with all good questions, can't be answered in your head. It must be felt in the heart. So I invite you to take this question into your heart with me. How do we create conscious communities in a largely unconscious world? How do we create communities of care, communities that are conscious of context, of who we are, expressing our God self on earth in a largely unconscious world? Great question, isn't it? And I believe as I've looked at this throughout writing this talk and my own process of healing and recovery from all the things that I was doing to my body, there are some ways that we can do this. And number one, we've got to shift from circumstance to consciousness, to this belief and this way of being in the world that what matters, it's what's happening out there, and getting ourselves all worried and worked up in this frenzied, dizzying, mind-boggling cacophony of what am I doing with my life? Because there's so much doing that I've lost sense of who I'm being. Until you can begin shifting from circumstance to consciousness, you will not know the depths of who you are and what you are here for. And it is in answering those questions that you begin to shift to this next level of moving from overwhelm to presence. Because once you understand what the context is, everything, the context of your life, your meaning, your purpose, what you are here for, everything from that flows with such clarity and such ease. Doesn't mean there's not a lot to do, but the ground of being moves from that sense of overwhelm because there's always something more, right? There's a big world out there. There's always something more happening. Always some other place that you can plug in. And if you don't have your clarity of direction of this is who I am, this is who I'm being in my God self on earth, then it's just you're living in overwhelm. And when you shift to this is who I am, and this is what I'm up to in life, you get engaged in your presence. You invite the presence. It's delicious. It's a delicious way to live. And then as that occurs, it's like, yeah, I really get that. And you begin moving through life with gentleness and direction and happiness and joy. Then what happens is at that level, we actually can move from the sense of division to oneness. It opens up the possibility that we can begin embracing the radical notion that was begun so many hundreds of years before us, that we are all one. Embracing that sense of the oneness of humanity, the oneness of our divinity, being connected and joined with one another in consciousness, the consciousness of God. And that doesn't matter if you're red or blue, liberal or conservative, Democrat or Republican, American or Asian or European. It doesn't matter. You're just in the consciousness of the one. It's just happier living that way. Do you get that? Moving from circumstance to consciousness, from overwhelm to presence, and from division to unity and oneness. So I'll close today with the words of St. Paul from Colossians chapter 3, verse 12 through 14, where it says, "You as God's people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves in compassion, kindness, humility, patience, forbearance. Bear with one another." I love that. Even back in biblical times, right? Bear with one another and forgive whatever grievances you may have against each other. Forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. And atop of all these virtues, put on the cloak of love, which binds us together in perfect unity. Sweet, isn't it? I believe that that's what we were born to do. I believe that that's what you are all here for, to put on the cloak of love and to bear with one another in kindness, gentleness, compassion, humility, patience, and most of all, in love. It's my prayer for you all today. God bless you. We're going to go within now and take those thoughts into our heart, into our soul, into our consciousness. Meditate more deeply on where we are finding ourselves in conscious community. Maura?
Your prayer is my prayer too. Your prayer is my prayer too. Whatever you feel, I feel too.